Alright guys, welcome back. My name is Amanda, also known as Mermaid Hair Donut Care, like donut. That is my handle here on TikTok and on Instagram. I would love for you to follow along in my makeup journey. And for today's video, I am doing my first impressions of Simply Posh Cosmetics. I have two palettes. This is going to be a two palette, four looks compilation video. I have the Berry Icy palette, which is right here. And then I also have the Fairy Tale Fairies palette. So today we're going to start with the Berry Icy palette for looks 1 and 2. I'm doing one on each eye for both palettes. Mostly because I have so many palettes to get through and I've been dying to try Simply Posh. So I really want to make sure that I get to them and basically as fast as possible, because otherwise if we waited until I actually took the time to do like a full video with each palette, it would have probably taken me a little bit to get there. So I'm so excited. Let's get into it. I did forget to charge my microphone, so if you catch me staring at it, I have a mirror right behind me, so I'm staring to see if it's still charged. Okay, so we are starting off with the Berry Icy palette. So let's check out the color story. It is so pretty. These are right up my alley. I love blues and greens, and this is a berry purpley color, pinky purple, which I love. And then you have these two, I guess, columns that are on the more neutral side for me. I think they're a little bit more neutral. Um, this is like a slightly brownish, pinky, mauvey column, and then this one is very coral. So I'm super excited with this color story. I really, really, really love it. So I've been wanting to try it. I've had it for a little bit now. I could say that about a lot of my palettes. So let's get primed and ready to go. Okay, like I mentioned before, this is going to be two looks, one on each eye with each palette. So I am going to start with this eye, and I have been primed with the Milani eyeshadow primer. I always say that it's not my favorite, but I really don't have actual complaints about it. So I have to like it. I don't know. Okay. So I have been really wanting to get better at doing wings that go up and are sharper, because I always tend to draw my wings out and almost flat, and I'm not loving how that's looking currently. So all right, I am going to start with the shade Tart. I'm going to start with the shade Tart, and I'm using Singe Beauty brushes. If you don't know who Angelica Nyqvist, these are her brushes. This is her beauty brand. If you're watching me, you probably know who she is. So this is the EO3, and I'm going to take the shade Tart, and I'm just going to put it on the outer corner. The funny thing about doing two looks, one on each eye, is I have to stop myself from going to do the other eye with the same look. Because it's just like a force of habit now, like step one, and then you go and do it on the second eye. Um, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I just don't do that. All right, I'm just gonna take the shade Fruity on this Blend Bunny B1 brush, this little blendy brush, and I'm just going to blend out the edges a little bit. So this purple is actually matching my shirt even better than I thought it would. I am going to take this shade right here called Cranberry, and I'm using a Blend Bunny B3 brush, and I just want to deepen the outer corner just a little bit. Okay, so I apparently suck at tutorials because I always just like keep going and I forget to like narrate what I'm doing. Anyway, I brought the purple up a little further, but I think this got a little too intense, so I am gonna cut the crease. Um, I'm gonna try to do that on camera, but if it doesn't work, then you'll just see when I have already cut the crease. All right, I'm using P. Louise base and P. Louise brush, 1221. Let's see how this goes. So I know some people like literally put it on their, I don't know how that's supposed to work. I know people that like put it on their like put a whole bunch like on their lid and then just like look up and like it somehow marks like where to cut the crease. Maybe I'm just like not smart enough. I'm probably covering my face. So sorry about that. I'm only doing like a half foot crease because I want to keep the back half the way it is because I was happy with how that came out. But the front was looking just a little too intense for me. I just got a little shadow happy. I just kept putting more on. All right, I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, but I'm not mad with how that looks. Okay, so these shimmer shades seem to be even shiftier than I thought. So I really wanted to use this shade right here, which is Delicious, and then this one is Bittersweet. So the Bittersweet's looking a lot more gold on camera, but it's looking very like mauvey, pinky with a hint of gold. So I think I'm gonna take the shade Delicious, which is that purple that's like shifting a little like blue. That is stunning, and I'm gonna put that in the middle of this little cut crease that I've created. Ooh. Okay, so I swatched the shade Bittersweet, and I think it's coming off a little too gold than I was wanting for this look. But this shade right here is the shade Berry Icy, and that is blue with like almost a pink shift. So I wasn't planning on using blue in this look because I wanted to use blue in my next look, but I think I need to give it a try. Like, oh, that is so pretty. Okay, hopefully this goes well. Okay, I am going to finish up this look and then I'm not going to do liner or lashes, or I'm not really going to do lashes. I'm going to do mascara, but I'm not going to do any of that until I'm done with the other eye. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, finish up what I want, and then we're going to move on to the next eye. All right, this is pretty much the finished eye look for look number one. I did add the shade Fresh, which is this lightest blue shade right here. I added that on my inner corner, which I'm loving so much. So for look number two, I was thinking like a blue halo eye. So let's see what we can do with that. All right, look number 2. I am going to start with this Wet n Wild, kind of just like rounded brush. I don't think it has a name on it anywhere. And I'm going to take Blueberry, which is the darkest blue shade, and I'm just going to pat that on the inner and outer corner of my eye. All right, on a Blend Bunny B5 brush, I'm going to take the shade Frosted, and I am going to just start blending away at these darker inner and outer corner. And then I do like to connect it in the middle for my halo. I also have hooded eyes, so I do always have to make things a little bigger than a lot of times I even want to, just so that the shadow can be seen when my eyes open, like literally you can barely see what's going on. So I do always feel like I have to like build more, like build up more and more than like someone that doesn't have hooded eyes would have to. So it's a process for sure. And I'm still learning because I didn't even realize until I was like very much in my adult life that I even had hooded eyes. Um, I did know that like eyeshadow was a little weird for me and that I would always try to put it on and you couldn't really see it when I had my eyes open and stuff like that. But I was never super into figuring out more about makeup. So like I didn't even realize until I started playing with makeup that I had hooded eyes and I had to like adjust for those types of things. All right, I have a Blend Bunny B1 and I'm just going to take that lightest blue shade, Fresh, which is on my inner corner, and I'm just going to blend out these edges a little bit. It is definitely a process. All right, I'm going to take this darkest blue shimmer. It is leaning very teal on camera, but it's definitely like blue when I look down on it. It is called Frozen, and I'm going to take that with a very, very slight bit of that, and I'm going to put it towards the center, but closest to the outer corner and inner corner, because we're going to put the lightest shimmer in the very middle. Of course, I got it in the middle, but we're going to put the lightest shimmer over that. Okay, so I'm going to take the shade Icy, which is very light, but I think it's going to brighten this up and look super pretty on the very middle of this halo. Like, oh, so pretty. Yes. Okay, so this is essentially the final look. I am gonna do my lower lash line and I'm gonna come back with both looks completed and we're gonna chat about this one. All right, guys.
So I didn't realize until I sat down to edit this that there was no audio. So these are the final looks. I'm going to try to tell you what I said during this video. I really didn't realize that it had no audio. But I'm obsessed with both of these. I really couldn't tell you which one I liked better than the other because I liked them both so much. I did use the lip gloss in the shade Worthy by Elli Beauty. I did also use Elli Beauty in my waterline of both eyes, the shade Dolly and the shade Snow. But I really love the way these both came out. I don't know why I'm looking at them. Okay, so right here, I'm just saying that overall, I'm very impressed with the palette so far. The shimmer shades are super special and really, really gorgeous, and a lot, not better than I expected. I expected them to be amazing just from hearing reviews prior, but they're just extra special, and I thought they were absolutely gorgeous, and I loved the blue shades that I used. The shade Delicious and the shade Very Icy and Icy and Frozen were just all amazing, and I absolutely cannot wait to keep using this palette. So I'm so excited to have this palette in my collection. I do love this row of the minty green, but I can't wait to keep using this. And now we should be moving on to look number 2.
Hi guys, and welcome back. This is day 2, looks, I guess, number 3 and 4, because you should have just seen the first 2 looks with the Simply Posh Berry Icy palette, and now I'm doing 2 more looks, one on each eye, with the Simply Posh Fairy Tale Fairies palette. Now I'm so excited. Oh, here is the color story if you haven't seen it. It is rather stunning. I do love that there are like pastels, a shimmer that like coordinates, and then the deeper tones. In it kind of reminds me of the Len Bunny's layout. Obviously not as many, not tones, but depths in the same like color. I'm not articulating that properly, but I feel like you should know what I mean. Like it's not going like pastel, mid-tone, like deep tone, and shimmer. Like it's just 3, and there's more color options, if that makes sense. But it's giving me those vibes where it does like basically like light, dark, and then the coordinating shimmer. I personally love layouts like this because sometimes when I look at a palette, I don't want to have to think about something, or if I'm in a rush and I see like I need to do something blue, there's literally something laid out for me where I can just go bloop and slap it on my eyes and I'm good to go. So I'm very excited. To be 1000% honest, I have not put any thought into what I am doing for these 2 looks. So that might that might take me a little minute to figure out. I do feel like I've been doing a lot of similar things recently with like colors, at least. Like I feel like I've been doing a lot of like blues and greens and purples, and then I've been doing a lot of pinks and purples together. I did blue and pink together recently, so I am unsure. I'm unsure. But you're going to be the first to find out in just a minute. Let's get started. Okay, I am back and I am primed with my Milani eyeshadow primer. And I know for at least one of the looks that I want to do something that's pink and green. I have been feeling so pink recently. Like I've been really into pink, which is not my norm. I've always liked pink, but I've never been like super, super, super drawn to pink. I'm gonna start with the shade Charmed though, this lightest green matte, and I'm taking my EO3 brush from Singe Beauty, which is Angelica Nyqvist's beauty line, and she started off with a brush set. I definitely did not pick up enough on my brush. I'm just slapping that into the crease rather loosely, just going for it. Okay, I've taken a different course. I'm taking the shade Woodlands, which is the darkest green in that same row that I started in, and I'm just taking like a pencil type brush from the Scooby-Doo collection with Glamlight, and I'm just gonna kind of map out the shape that I am wanting. Okay, so that was generally the shape I was going for. I am the worst when it comes to having hooded eyes because I like forget that I have hooded eyes, and I'll do something like with my eyebrows raised and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great shape. And then I'll open my eyes and you can barely see it. But I kind of like the more like sleekness, that makes no sense, of this line versus like a big like arch. I don't know, I think it looks kind of cool. I'm going to, I don't know if I want to put another matte shade down on my lid or just put a shimmer. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm gonna take the shade Mythical, this really pretty pink shimmer. Let me show it to you. Oh wow, that is like way more like a bubblegummy pink than I thought it was gonna be. So let's see. I'm just gonna slap it all over my lid. Oh no, this is like literally exactly what I wanted. Okay, this is stunning. This is so pretty. Okay, I'm going to clean this up, get this into all the nooks and crannies that I want it in, and then I will come back with an almost finished look. Okay, I am loving this shimmer shade. I did take the shade Fantasy and stick that on my inner corner. It's the light pink matte. I am going to take the shade Once Upon a Time, this like almost burgundy shade. It's like a light burgundy, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to put that on my lower lash line, and then I am going to blend that out with Fantasy as well. It just seems appropriate. But I mean, I'm assuming it's the purpose of this palette, but I feel like a little garden fairy with this look, and I am absolutely loving it. I'm sorry if I'm blocking my face. That color is stunning. I am going to move on to look number 2, and then I'm not going to finish this until I finish everything all at the same time, and then we'll come back for thoughts. All right, we are back for look number 2. I think I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm also not 100% sure. I don't want to be boring, but the look I have kind of has a simpler vibe. But I also plan on using like as many shades in the palette as possible at one time. So I think I'm gonna just go for it, and we're just gonna wing it. I like those vibes, winging it. Okay, so I'm gonna take the shade Mystical, this darkest like teal shade, and I am gonna do a shadow liner with that. I am also not the best at shadow liner, and I should probably put a piece of tape down but I'm just gonna go for it because, like I said, we're winging it. Haha, literally and figuratively. Pun intended. Okay, so normally I would take a couple shades in a gradient and try and like blend it out, but since I only have one shade like in the same row in that like tone that's a gradient, I'm gonna start by like buffing it out by itself with just this is a Blend Bunny B2 brush. It's almost like a little bullet brush, but I like it as like a little smudger brush, and I'm just gonna smudge the edges of this before I add any other shadows on top of it. Okay, I did go back and add a little bit more pigment in. I'm taking the shade right here called Pixie, and I am going to just start blending that a little bit out with the same brush. Okay, so I did just like buff it out, like added more pigment, buffed it out again. I am gonna take that same shade, Pixie, oops, right here, and I'm going to take a little bit bigger of a blendy brush. This is an EO2 from Singe Beauty, and I'm just gonna like bring it up a little bit further onto the lid, and then we're gonna cover it up with some shimmers. I really love Fairy Dust and Sparkles, these two right here. And I'm gonna either try to combine them or use one all over and one on my inner corner, or I'm not sure. We're gonna figure that out. But like I said, I'm trying to use as many shades in this palette as possible on just these two looks. I've already used 5 on this eye, and I'm shooting for more than that on this eye, so we will see what we get. Okay, I'm gonna take the shade Fairy Dust. Whoa. I'm just gonna tap that. I'm not going to like swipe my finger because I don't want that much. Okay, I'm gonna take the shade Sparkles, this bright like lime green. Oops. I'm just gonna take it on my pinky like that. And just try to tap like the innermost. That is so freaking pretty. I'm gonna bring it to my inner corner, I think. Okay, I'm gonna have to clean it up a little bit, but the shimmers, glitters, everything is freaking stunning. These two shades. Love. I am gonna take the shade Magic, which is this blue right here, and I'm gonna stick that on my um, lower lash line, and I'm gonna blend it out with the light blue in the same row called Dreamy. Can anyone do their under eye or anything like mascara on your under eye without like keeping your mouth wide open? Because tell me how. Cause I don't know how to. I like it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like trying to do my makeup. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna clean it up a tad and then finish both eyes up and come back with some thoughts. All right, these are the final looks. what do we think? First of all, on my lips, I have Lunar Beauty lip combo in milk tea. The lip liner and the lipstick are both milk tea. I think this is my favorite nude lip right now. For some reason, it's like the perfect nude on me, I think. My opinion, the perfect nude on me. Um, I don't really do nude lips that often, so the fact that I really, really, really love this one is like amazing for me. Okay, so I'm also going to let you know that I used the shade Fern Ellie Beauty eyeliner on my waterline and Sky Ellie Beauty eyeliner on my waterline on this side. Um, and my intentions were not to do this like black wing on this eye, but I went for it and I'm not really that mad about it, to be honest. It is more dramatic than I was really going for, but again, I am not mad at it. So let's talk about the palette. I used 11 shades. I used 5 on this side and 6 on this side, I think. And so far, I am absolutely loving this. I love that there is depth to the palette as well as the like pastel shades. The shimmer shades, I only used 3 shimmers, but they're all stunning. Like these shades, like they're really 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 pretty. They're super special. I also love the texture of the shimmers. I think the texture is wonderful. There was a little bit of fallout. I did have to clean it up. There's still some remnants of glitter on my face, but that kind of thing doesn't really bother me like it bothers some people. I did just like take some like micellar water on like a cotton pad and just like wiped, and most of it came off. So I'm like I said, I'm not really mad about that. Um but so far, I am loving this palette, like color story wise, absolutely loving it. But I'm also really impressed with Simply Posh's formula. So, hold on, let me grab my Berry Icy palette. Okay, so overall, after using these two palettes, like I said, I am very impressed with the formula. I've loved everything so far. I can't wait to keep using them. I did just notice that the shade Chilled right up in this corner and the shade Pixie are on the more similar side. Um, Other than that, there's nothing super similar. Actually, the shade Enchanted and the shade Delicious seem to be a little similar as well, but I'm not mad that I have both of these in my collection. I'm actually really, really excited to keep using them. Um, and then if you follow me on TikTok, um, the Fairy Tale Fairies palette will be my next palette in my picking out of a takeout because I picked it before I filmed this video and I was like, I can't do 3 looks and then do one on each eye and film a first impression. So I just did this, filmed my first impressions. I just whacked my microphone. And then I'm going to do probably 1 or 2 more looks, maybe probably 2 more looks with the Fairy Tale Fairies palette on TikTok. So if you're not following me there, it is Mermaid Hair Do Not Care on here, TikTok, and Instagram. So stay tuned for that. I really would love for you to follow along. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to subscribe. I would love for you to let me know which one of these 4 looks was your favorite. I don't even know myself which one is my favorite. So I would love to know your opinions. Um, but yeah, please follow along because there's always more. Bye.